celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life with Stirling Faux on AM 650.
Welcome back to the program. We're talking about solutions to debt problems with Brett Luckin, Vice President with Abakhan and Associates, with offices here in Vancouver, in Surrey, in Victoria, in Vernon, and in Prince George. And Brett, well, you've been known to have a meeting or two at a Tim Hortons, or you'll go to people's homes.
I'll go to people's homes if that's what they need. Yes.
Right. I wanted to. We don't have a lot of time left. It's been a fascinating conversation. I do appreciate your time. We live in the most expensive housing market in Canada. There's no other city in which houses cost more, full stop. So, young people trying to get into the housing game in these low-interest, very attractive times are, in many cases, leaning on the bank of mom and dad for the all-important down payment loan or whatever. I need you to talk to us ever so briefly, if you can, about co-signing for the kids.
There is quite a bit of research that's come out recently that shows that, in fact, the age group of 40 to 59 is incurring more debt at a personal level, and some of that debt tends to be as a result of helping out, supporting your children, sometimes even your aging parents as well. And we've seen quite a few examples of where mom and dad have helped out son or daughter, potentially by co-signing on credit cards, co-signing on car loans, dipping into their own virtually paid off mortgage in order to fund the mortgage of the son or the daughter.
Or taking out a second on the house to give some cash to the kids to buy their own.
And in fact, it's not mom and dad's financial life that implodes initially. It's the daughter or the son-in-law's life. And now what happens is that this money you've taken out of your own mortgage cannot be repaid.
Right.
The debt that you've got, the co-signed debt you've got on credit cards or on cars, is now visiting you at a time of your life when you actually thought it was all over for you.
Exactly.
You could now retire, and you had planned potentially to do that successfully, and instead suddenly you've now got this unexpected debt burden as a result of putting yourself in that position.
Right. So again, be very, very careful and be aware of your own personal exposure when you co-sign.
And if you're going to do something like that, you know what? Spend the $500 or $1,000 and see a lawyer to ensure that if it's possible, you can in fact protect yourself in case something were to happen to the daughter or son.
And what about the kids? The kids are buying into just the most ridiculously priced housing market in the country. Interest rates have only one way to go, Brett, and that is up. And it's not going to be too much longer. And so if you buy today, maybe with a bump from dad and mom, and you're just barely able to afford it, when that mortgage comes up for renewal and those interest rates are much higher than they are now, and I mean, even 3% is higher than they are now. I mean, a lot of these kids are just hooped. They're going to be out of the house.
You know what? And the issue really is that in the interim, of course, they're also getting their new credit cards. They're getting their nice new fancy car.
Yeah.
And their debt burden and the leverage, the percentage of their debt versus the income has changed. They don't realize that. They're not clear on that. And the mortgage rates go up. The general interest rates, as a rule, will go up as well.
Absolutely.
And clickety-click. What you have is a situation where you actually cannot repay your debt anymore.
Are you expecting, because as a trustee, you're responsible for, you got to keep an eye on the long horizon, and as we discuss and anticipate interest rates increasing, say in the next 12 months, would you expect an increase in volume of business?
I think, I'd hate to be the one who would say the words, almost like rub my hands, go, oh look, there's going to be more business coming up, because that precludes the issue that there's obviously a bunch of personal tragedies that go with that.
Yeah. I'm not saying it in a positive way either.
But having said that, of course, what I should point out is that if you do not protect yourself and you start doing things like overextending yourself on your mortgage or on your credit cards, etc., you are going to create a problem for yourself that might not be obvious today, but it will become very obvious to you in 2 or 3 years. So don't do it. Don't overextend.
Right.
Don't buy something you can barely afford today on the presumption that in 3 or 4 years you will just simply be able to afford it. That might not be the case.
Right. And if you feel drowning in debt is pretty much the story or description of your life these days, perhaps it's time to have a conversation. Doesn't cost anything to sit down with you or any of your colleagues at Abakhan Associates, does it?
No. And we've got offices all over BC, and that's what's key from our point of view. We are available. I'm available virtually 24 hours a day. If someone wants to just phone and speak to me and ask me Yeah.
And all of the contact information for Brett Luckin and all his colleagues at all the Abakhan and Associates offices around BC, Vancouver, Surrey, Victoria, Vernon, PG, up there. Just go to moneytroubles.ca.
Yes.
Brett, your emails and phone numbers,
Everything.
all the contact stuff is right there.
Correct. Just phone me and I'll talk to you.
All right. Well, we appreciate your coming in to talk to us, and I only hope that people listening take your advice and follow up with that all-important phone call directly to you.
Thank you, Sterling.
Good of you to join us. We'll see you again.
Thank you so much.
See you next time on Boomer Life.